Year one, yesterday was a brutal day for the market, right? Especially if you're in growth stocks. I think if you open your portfolio, you were like me, you saw a sea of red. Okay. And I want to let you know that you're not alone. It's ugly out there. And I know the natural instinct in a moment like this is to panic, is to hit the sell button and run for the hills. But before you do any of that, please pause. Right? In this video, I want you to understand exactly why this is happening so that you won't just be scared, you'll be prepared. Okay? So let's start by looking at the damage because there's a specific lesson in the charts today. Usually when markets crashes, money, theoretically when you learn in business school, should flow into safe haven assets like gold and silver. But you look at what happened today. Silver didn't go up, it crashed nearly 30%. That is insane move for matter, right? And gold is down 10%. And then you look at tech, QQQ is down, retail favorites are getting hammered. SoFi reported great earnings, but declined to $22 today. So what does this mean, when everything is falling, even the safe stuff? It means that, we are in a liquidation event. Investors and big funds are scared, or maybe they are over leveraged and getting margin caught. So what they're doing is selling everything just to raise cash. They aren't picking and choosing. They are just hitting the sell button, right? And this is fear in the market. Okay. But more importantly, I want to deep dive as to why there is this panic. Okay, and the catalyst that's happening. So the first catalyst is this President Trump's tweet on Truth Social. He tweeted about a massive Armada heading to Iran. And you look at the language he used, guys. He's saying that the fleet is moving with great power, enthusiasm, purpose. Right? He's saying that time is running out. He even referenced a previous attack on the Operation Midnight Hammer. Right? And he said the next one would be far worse. Okay, so when the President of the United States uses words like this, the market immediately prices in a war. Right? The market is already assuming that we'll be in a full-blown conflict by this weekend or maybe next week. And this uncertainty is the kryptonite for stocks. You get it? And this is why the market is selling off. But here's the thing to take note is that if you look at history and we go back in time, going back to the Gulf War, the Iraq War, even more recent conflicts, there is a pattern, and it's called selling the build-up and buying the invasion. So right now we are in the build-up phase. This is where the rumors are flying, tweets are coming left and right, fear is at its highest, and stocks crash. But once the invasion actually happens and once boots are on the ground, the market often rallies. Why? Because the uncertainty is no longer there. Right? The market knows what's happening and it can move on. So while it feels terrifying today, history actually suggests that the moment the news breaks that the operation started, we might have actually seen the bottom. Okay, so my prediction is that this should be a swift conflict and then the VIX will get crushed. The second thing that's happening is the new federal chair, right? Trump has nominated Kevin Walsh to be the next chair of the Federal Reserve. And the market is selling off on this news. Why? Because historically, Kevin Walsh is known to be a hawk. Someone who is worries about inflation and likes to keep interest rates high. So the market immediately think like, oh no, he's going to crash the economy to fight against inflation. But to me personally, I think that's the old Kevin Walsh, right? And that was many years back already. The new reality is that I believe that he has already pivoted, and he aligns with the president's view that we need to cut rates to boost growth. Okay, and if you here's also another insider detail. Do you know that Kevin Walsh is married to Jane Lauder, who is the heiress of the Estee Lauder empire? And if you look at the past history, you know that the Trump family and the Lauder family has been close friends for decades. Right. So for me, I think that it signals to me that I don't believe that the White House and Fed are going to be enemies. They are going to be partners. And when you have a cooperative Fed, it's usually a green light for the stock market to rally. Okay? Kevin Walsh is a good pick because he has that history of being independent, right? He's hawkish in nature. But I believe, hey, look, most likely he will align with President Trump and cut rates over the next few months. And then if you add one more layer of stress, because why not, right? There's so many events, what can get worse? Is that you also have a government shutdown deadline this Saturday. Right, and then you're already seeing scary headlines around all the news channels. Government is closing, funding is rejected, government is shutting down, etc., etc. I want you to take a deep breath and ignore all this noise. Right, the strategy in Washington is almost always a two-bill strategy. Right, most likely they're going to do the same thing by passing a temporary fix to keep the lights on while they fight about the specific funding for DHS and ICE due to all those shootings and killings that's happening recently, right? So don't let this shake you out, okay? Just stay calm, stay confident in the positions that you are holding, right? But there's one sector, that I thought I wanted to cover today is one sector that I'm not going to buy, right? In fact, I am going to stay far away from it for now, okay? And that is the healthcare sector, right? This is an example of policy risk where I am not very, very confident about. Right? If you look at this uh, picture and these two images from Healthcare Henry, the government is proposing the new payment rates for Medicare Advantage for 2027 to only be 0.09%. That's way off what Wall Street was estimating of 4 to 6%. It's way off. In fact, last year's increase was 5%. So if you account for inflation, if essentially this is going to be a pay cut, right? And when the news came out on this, market destroyed all these healthcare insurance stocks. Humana, United Healthcare, CVS, Centene all went down, right? And in fact, recently when United Healthcare reported earnings, the stock even went even down. So I'm not going to put any money now in these stocks, right? I know many YouTubers are saying it's the buy the deep opportunity, best time to buy all these stocks. For me personally, I'm going to avoid this, right? I don't want to catch a falling knife for now. Until this gets resolved, these stocks to me are dead money, right? In the short term, okay? If you're a long-term investor, you have someone who has like 10 years horizon, 15 years horizon, you don't mind holding some portion of your money inside these stocks, go ahead. But for me personally, I'm not going to put my money in these stocks for now. Okay. So what do we do now, guys? And you look at the quote by Warren Buffett. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. A very cliche quote, but it's important because if we look at the chart on the screen, the line going up on the wicks is pure fear, sorry. And that's the crowd panicking, right? And if you're a long-term investor, this is the time that you want to look for opportunities and not run away. Because when you look at when the VIX spikes to a certain level, the S&P index signals the bottom, right? And when the VIX gets crushed, S&P normally rallies. Okay. So for me, I looked at the roadmap again, and I look at all the um, predictions by the different institutions, right? And do remember everybody is predicting like a target of 7,008, 7,006 for the S&P for the end of the year. So personally, I think the market is going to bottom once the war news settles and once the shutdown is resolved. I do see that the market should, rally and peak around February and March, and then start to dip in the middle of years because of the midterms. But for now, I think take a deep breath, turn off the news if you have to, trust the process, right? Okay. I hope this deep dive helped you understand why this is happening. Why is the stock market selling off? Again, if you found this helpful, do help me to like, share, and subscribe so we can navigate this crazy market together. Everything here is shared is not for financial advice, it's education and sharing purposes only. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video.